All right. Hi, Z and Lara. Thanks for coming here today and making the time to be here. I know we've talked a little bit about your difficulties in the last session when we met. Um, but I was just wondering, Z, if you could start by telling me a little bit about how you guys met and what you're hoping to get out of this session today.
Okay. It's honestly very hard, I guess, to get my mind to think about that, like how we met and whatnot, because we've just been so detached from that for a while, and it's hard to think about happy memories that I feel like I don't know. Part of me feels like they don't really play a role anymore. I just feel like I've ruined like everything that we've had. But I'll I'll answer questions. So we actually met uh, at an animal shelter. We both were just happening to volunteer at that time. And like in my life, I mean, I'm still struggling, but at that time I was also not in a great state of mind, and I was just trying to fill up, my life with things that brought me joy, and animals bring me joy. So I went and volunteered there, and that's how we met. Um, and so, we naturally spent time together there while volunteering, and then we both wanted to adopt some pets, and so we actually at the same day, and we decided to do it together. And so I bought not bought I adopted two bunnies, and she adopted two dogs. And yeah, that's and from there, I mean, I know that she can add as well, but we added not we added we spent a lot of time together with our pets, and that's kind of where our relationship got real and closer. And yeah, so that's that. And what I wanted from today, is that what you were asking?
Yeah. So just what you're hoping to get from the session today.
um I feel like what I want is not, it's hard to get in a session, so it's hard for me to think on a lower scale. But I guess just communication. I feel like it's been hard to communicate because this is always just in the air. So I guess just having somebody to help us do that is, I guess, what I would say for that.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And Kirsten, would you like to add anything to how you guys met, or you could just jump in and say what you're hoping to get out of this session today?
Um, yeah, maybe I'll add a little to how we met because I mean, thinking about it is like part of why I've really wanted to keep this relationship going despite everything that's transpired. I just remember being at the animal shelter and feeling so just taken aback by Z, and how she was with the animals, and just when I think back to that, it just, I can remember what she was wearing, this beautiful teal shirt, and I could just like feel her energy. And yeah, it's the thing that like keeps me going with us now too, just watching how she is with my animals, with my dogs, and she treats them with just as much love as her bunnies. And I guess it's really helpful for me to just even think back to that. So I guess what I want to get out of this, I just don't know how much more to convey how much I love her and have her understand that, and how to get that to take away her guilt. I guess I just want to find a way forward.
Yeah, yeah, and it must be extremely difficult to, be feeling this guilt and not feel like the communication about it is there. But from what I'm hearing, you both really enjoy being around animals, and it seems to bring out the best in each other. Um, so I'm wondering if Z, you could tell me a little bit about how you feel when you're with Kerstin, with your bunnies and your dogs, and what that looks like.
Yeah, I think we're both very grateful for our family that we have. I think that that's kind of honestly the glue right now that's holding us together. It's not that I don't want to obviously be together. I do, which is I think why it's really hard for me to um, I don't know, conceptualize, because I'm really upset with myself, and it's hard for me to feel anything else, because all I'm thinking about is the anger that I feel and from what I did, and just like not understanding the situation, and even though that I was the one that did that. But yeah, so we're all together with our pets. It's just a really comfortable and familiar feeling. It brings us closer without really having to do much to communicate. We're just sitting there and cuddling and being together. And I think that no words really need to be said in those moments. So I really do hold on to those.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that, Z. I'm wondering if we could kind of talk about a time when you did forgive yourself or someone else and what that felt like.
For like anybody else, I guess. Like what?
Yeah.
Like
So
anytime.
I guess I'll clarify my question. Has there been a time in the past where you have forgiven someone, forgiven yourself, someone else, and what did that look like for you?
Yeah. So like the first thing that comes up, and I really wasn't um anticipating talking about this, but first thing that comes up for me is so because of the pandemic and COVID and whatnot, Kirsten's still working from home and I am not. And so, my schedule usually is pretty consistent, but there's some days that I come home early or whatnot. And I came home early one day, and I didn't happen to message her or tell her that I just got out early, just came home early, um and I heard her talking on the phone with, I don't know if it was a colleague or a friend or whatnot, but it doesn't really necessarily matter. But just like talking negatively about me and my past situation of being homeless for 5 years on and off, and just it was kind of like I know she fears for me to be in that situation again, and so I think that's kind of why I did forgive her, because I know that her intentions were not bad, but it did really hurt my feelings of her kind of looking down on me or thinking that I was less, or and it's just a really confidential personal information that I think that she would know to not share with people, or kind of, I don't know, and what she was saying about it, and it makes me uncomfortable to talk about it, but because it does make me really upset, because that's something I did trust her with that information, and again, it's very personal for me, and it hurt to know that because she didn't expect me to be home, that it was secretive, but then I kind of feel like I can't even talk about that right now, because clearly I was also secretive, so yeah, but yeah, so that I did forgive her for that, but I just feel like that's not even really comparable to what I did, so.
Yeah, when you came home and heard Kerstin on the phone, did you confront her about that?
So I did, but probably not in the best way. So I was really upset, and I wanted her to know that I knew. I wanted her to know that I heard. So, I just kind of made myself present. And then I left the room and kind of, I stayed at home, but I left the room and kind of waited for her to say something about it. Because I was just really angry and I really didn't know how to handle the situation. And I was full of a lot of feelings, anger, embarrassment, just hurt, because I wouldn't expect her to just say those things or to, I don't know, the situation just really caught me off guard. So I kind of just made myself present and kind of just left the situation until she came over to me. And it was a very, emotional conversation. But I think we did find common ground, and we've moved past that. But so yeah.
Yeah, that must have been really hard to hear, coming home and hearing someone, that you really trust saying those things. And it makes me wonder about how you were able to find that courage to talk about it with her and express your feelings about it. So Kerstin, I'm wondering how it felt when Z confronted you, when she overheard you talking on the phone.
Well, I felt tremendously guilty, and I felt maybe misunderstood, I guess. This might have been when I would say our communication started breaking down. And a lot of times I would say this was like the event that maybe, in my mind, sometimes I think caused her to have an affair and step out of our relationship. And I guess listening to her talk about times that she was able to forgive, I've really thought, like, why can't you just forgive yourself and get over this? But yet, as she's talking about it, I realize perhaps I haven't forgiven myself for that. And I see that it's hard when you feel really guilty about something to just let it go.
Z, and I'm wondering, how did you find it within yourself to forgive Kerstin, and move forward from her, hearing what she was saying on the phone?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a pretty understanding person, and things happen, and we make mistakes, and one thing, although is very, like I said, very hurtful, and it did sit with me for some time, even after we met common ground, and she apologized and whatnot. Although that happened, there's so many. Our relationship is so much more than that. It's so much more than that one situation. So much more than I don't know, that one thing that happened. So, I mean, when you love someone and there's a lot of reasons why you do that, and we're not all going to be perfect. And I feel like if a relationship's going to be successful, then it's important to kind of know that and to take what you can learn from situations and leave the rest. And she just brings so much more to the relationship than that one situation that, once I kind of got off over the initial reaction, and once she kind of apologized and explained, because like I said, I'd never thought that it was something that her intentions were bad. I never thought that from the start. I was just really upset, just kind of how it unfolded and whatnot. But once she came to me and she explained to me the situation and whatnot, I mean, that's all I really needed. And I was, able to move past it. And she, she continues to reassure me. And so I'd actually, hearing her say that she thought that maybe that was the time, or the reason why I, did what I did, is really hard to hear, just because like, I don't feel like there's any excuse. Like, I don't feel like there's any excuse for what I did. And the fact that she's just like, she's already such an amazing person, for her to just sit here and be like, yeah, maybe I was the one that was at fault. It's just crazy to me to even to hear that. It really is. And these are the reasons why, you know, there's so much to hold on to. There's so much to, it's upsetting for me that I can't just get over it. It really is upsetting for me, but I can't cover how I feel. I can't do that very well, and nor do I want to.
Yeah, I think, you know, that's a great point that you make, and you have really great insight about not trying to hide those feelings, and how you've both been able to share those with each other. I think is really amazing. And I just wonder what it would look like if you guys were, you know, with your animals. You know, what do you guys enjoy doing with your animals and together? And, you know, how would that build on forgiveness for you, do you think? Kerstin, if you want to touch on that first.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think maybe I don't want to feel the pain of this, so I prefer to go to these places of just being with her, with the animals. And it's just such a small bump along the road, even though, you know, I understand that it has hurt me deeply. I just, every time you ask me about the animals or about the things that we love, I can just feel it in my body, you know, just remembering these times of just sitting with our four strange little creatures all together. Just watching how much she really, you know, loves them, and the time that we spend there, I feel like, you know, it just overpowers a lot of the other stuff. And even just as I sit here and think about it, that's the stuff that you know, that draws me back, and that I love to focus on, because overall it really works, and that's why I'm still here.
Z, how does it feel to hear Kerstin talk about that?
It definitely brings back, like she said, like it brings back those warm feelings, those good feelings, but it also makes me like really sad. And I sometimes I fear, like, you know, we've already talked a lot about the animals, which is great, right? Because that's like our main life and whatnot. But I fear, like, we didn't have the animals, or maybe, you know, sometimes they're not gonna last forever. And I fear that, you know, she said those are the things that she holds on to. What happens if she can't hold on to them anymore? I feel like that's also a barrier for me, you know, is anger, like I said, and guilt, obviously. But also, I just am so focused on like the things that could go wrong, or the when will she like not find understanding, or like when will she like not have those feelings anymore. I just am really it we just have a lot of like intrusive thoughts, and then I also feel so much guilt for having them, because like I want to be my best person, you know, my best self for her, and I know that she is for me. And then again, I feel guilty, you know, just hearing her talk. I'm like, this woman is amazing, that's why I'm with her. But it's just like I don't feel like I even anywhere close to how great she is. So yeah, it's a lot to hold.
Yeah, I can hear that guilt and really, you know, taking over you right now. And I think maybe we can talk about what it would look like if the animals weren't there, and really focus in on your relationship between the two of you. And if you didn't have the animals, what would it look like? What else do you enjoy doing together? Kerstin, do you have any thoughts on what it would look like if the animals weren't in the picture?
It's such a hard thing to even imagine, just because I love them so much. But I don't, you know, I mean, there were other times where we used to go out to eat a lot, and we loved like sharing food together. And I really enjoy that. And I guess maybe, maybe just because it's just been a lot more of the day to day, and like COVID has driven us like, a little more in, that it is challenging to find like other things to do. But whether the animals were there or not, like it's just the things that we love, and just that we love, that we love taking care of things. We love, just the small attention of like caring for things that might, not otherwise be cared for. And just, I think the overall mentality of how we view the world, can mean that it can go into a lot of other places, even when we're walking in the woods together and just looking at things. She just is so good at being present with me during that. And it's something I haven't found with other people.
Yeah, that sounds like a very, supportive partner, Z. And I wonder, before we wrap up here, if we could just talk about how you feel like you can support Kerstin, just as she was mentioning that she wants to support you.
Yeah. I think that, she said that she really likes how present I am. And I think that sometimes I can get, I think that my guilt and my intrusive thoughts and my anxiety and whatnot, I think gets in the way of being or as present as I'd like to be, or as I once was. And so maybe just trying to put that stuff, making an intentional effort to try to put that stuff down, even if it's for like one lunch, or one walk, or, just so I can really try to be present. And then, maybe things will come from that. Maybe things that we need, or that we need to be, or at least, I don't know, maybe we need to be reminded of or whatnot. But just hearing her talk does, make me hopeful. And I just think that the energy that we have is very rare. And I think that the energy has been bruised, but I think that, bruises don't scar. So I, I think that we can maybe, get to that place, maybe, or maybe it's not that exact place, but a different type of place. And I think it's just going to take, maybe some intentional work. But I guess I'm really happy to have this session, because I think that it does remind me of the good things that we have, and the things that we can hold on to and we can use to grow out of this situation. I'm just really grateful to have somebody who wants to do that with me.
Well, thank you guys both for, allowing me to hold this space with you as well. I've really appreciated listening to you both, and your participation. So I'm thinking, in the last few minutes of our session, we can just, close our eyes and take a few breaths. So if you want to get settled in.
Sure.